and welcome to the Monday edition of Talking Football, where we cover the weekend's events in the Spanish and French League, and there is so much to talk about. With me here in the studio are football analyst Yoav Borowitz and I24 News Michael Friedman, who covers their reaction in the global press. And today we will speak of the title race in Spain, which is once again wide open after Barcelona was unable to win in Seville. We'll get ready for the giant Madrid derby in the Champions League, and we will also discuss Zlatan's suspension from 4 matches in France. All this and much more coming up. Let's get started. We begin with Barcelona, and if we thought they have the Spanish title already in their pocket, we should think again. You have a 2-2 draw in Seville is not a bad result, but when it comes after they were leading 2-0 and ahead of a crucial week, PSG, Valencia, it is a bit shaky.
First of all, let me tell you something. It is a bad result for Barcelona because every game that is not against Real Madrid and is not a victory is a bad result for both teams, Barcelona and Real Madrid, because they're so dead even. The race is so heated. It's so close. They need to win every game. This is one thing. Second thing, as you said, Sevilla is not a weak team at all. But Barcelona had this game in its hands.
They were
leading 2-0. They created more opportunities. They should have had it. They should have won this game. Sevilla almost didn't lose at home for a year and a half. So it's, when you have this opportunity, when you have them on the ropes, you need to get the knockout. You cannot let them come back. That's exactly what they did. Then Gerard Piqué with a mistake. We know Barcelona's defense. We know how shaky this defense is. So they lost 2 points. Now they're only leading by 2 points against Real Madrid.
They cannot lose again.
And they cannot lose again. They cannot draw again even, But obviously they have some very tough games. They have a game in the Vicente Calderón against Atletico Madrid. They have other difficult games. They're not playing Real Madrid, but still, if I'm looking at this situation right now, I'm looking at those two teams, I think Real Madrid had a stronger season. I think they're a stronger team. Notwithstanding Barcelona's great offense with Neymar, Suarez, and Messi. And if you're asking me, I think Real Madrid now, although they're behind 2 points, they are favorites to win the championship.
And Michael, when you lose points, suddenly everything comes out again after some quiet times. Now we hear of a feud between Luis Enrique and Neymar.
Yeah, so the first was the big surprise that they lost, but the big topic was about Neymar. In Football Espana's headlines read, Enrique slams Neymar nonsense. There's a lot of talk about Neymar giving him a look, or what was that scene. But Enrique dismissed it. He said, I do not worry about looks. I just focus on my players' football. It's just silliness, he calls it. So he's more worried about his team losing control in the match than anything else. Other players spoke out, including Iniesta, and he says that there's no need for panic. Barcelona, they drop points, but they'll be okay. They're leaders, so they know that they have to go every game from now on at the top, playing their best. But it was a disappointment for Enrique, and obviously, whenever they don't win, there's something on the sideline being talked about.
Neymar had a very strong game, but both goals they're considered were mistakes. One by the goalkeeper Bravo, the second by Piqué. So Barcelona,
defense is shaky.
Yes.
Always shaky. They always are making those mistakes.
And
when the offense doesn't compensate for that with scoring at least 2-3 goals, it just won't be enough.
You mentioned Real Madrid, Yoav. They lost to Eibar. They beat Eibar 3-0. Instead of talking of Eibar, let's talk on the big test Real Madrid is facing as of tomorrow night. Atletico Madrid. They didn't beat them in the 6 matches so far. What will they do different this time?
First of all, if we're looking at the table in the Spanish league, so there's a big gap between Real and Atletico, second and third place. Real are leading by 7 points. As you said, Real it's been a very tough matchup for them playing Atletico. And Ancelotti just said, every time I'm playing Simeone, it's an experience, but it's something very difficult. And he knows how good Diego Simeone's team, especially against Real, because they have all the motivation in the world. And tactically, they're a brilliant team. But if we're looking talent-wise on the pitch, it's not even close. Real has so much more talent than Atletico. Therefore, I still think they are favorites. I would even say heavy favorites in this quarterfinal matchup against Atletico. obviously, it will be very interesting because we know the history there.
And Michael, what is the press saying about this matchup? Because yes, Real are favorites. Yes. On the other hand, they have not been able to beat Atletico this season so far in 6 matches.
And the record speaks for itself. But the Daily Mail headlines read, Real Madrid's shabby record against city rivals Atletico this season has left Champions League winner Carlo Ancelotti treading on thin ice. So there's a lot of pressure on Carlo Ancelotti. They need to either win the Champions League or La Liga. The press are saying if he doesn't win one or the other, he will get sacked. But he's more focused on the match, and he said that the last result against Atletico is a motivating factor for the team, and it'll be a different type of game, and it's always difficult going against Atletico. He has much respect for the club, but it's going to be a huge fixture between two very big teams.
So we have been speaking about Atletico. They did not win this season. They tied. They drew 2-2 in Malaga. Antoine Griezmann again scored twice. In Real Madrid, even if Ronaldo is not strong, there's enough firepower. In Atletico, Griezmann has to shine or they won't go.
Exactly, because they just got Fernando Torres about 2 months ago, but he's not really redeeming himself in Atletico.
And Mandzukic is not strong enough.
And Mandzukic, yeah, he has an okay season, but not a brilliant season. The only guy who has a brilliant season up top
Griezmann.
is Antoine Griezmann, who's a very in shape striker. But it's not enough, it's just not enough. In Atletico, we know of their defensive prowess. We know how good they are. But they conceded 2 goals against Malaga, so it can also get shaky at times. And when they will play Real Madrid with all the star players coming from everywhere in the field, with the megastar Cristiano Ronaldo, I think it's going to be so difficult for them to win this matchup, especially when we're talking about 2 games. It's not a 1 game only. And we're looking at Atletico Madrid. This team is the reigning champions, and this team was close 1 minute from being the European champions. But we remember what happened in the overtime. They conceded 3 more goals. They lost 4-1 at the end. So Real kind of took care of them when it really, really, really mattered at the last game of the season, the biggest game of the year. And again, I think, as I said, Real are favorites, but if you want a team to compete against Real, you want Diego Simeone's boys, because they know this team very well, and they proved themselves many times against Real.
And they're hungry for it. They want it bad.
And they're tough. One thing I don't expect Atletico to win 4-0 at the Vicente Calderon tomorrow. I don't think that will happen. Here are all the weekend's results from La Liga. Rayo Vallecano scored in the first minute of their match in Vigo. Their only problem was that Celta replied with 6 of their own. 2-2 was the result between Real Sociedad and Deportivo La Coruña and Elche. 1-0 in Cordoba. One more match will be played tonight when Valencia hosts city rivals Levante at the Mestalla. As we have said, the gap at the top is now down to just 2 points. Barcelona are still first with 75, closely followed by Real Madrid with 73. Further down are champions Atletico Madrid with 66 points, 4 more than Valencia and Seville, but the team from the Mestalla still has a game in hand. Now to France, and on the pitch, it was a good weekend for Paris Saint-Germain as they won the first of 4 possible trophies as they beat Bastia 4-0 in the League Cup final. But on another front, the French champions learned that their superstar Zlatan Ibrahimovic will sit out in 4 of the remaining 7 matches in the French league due to a suspension for his verbal spat against the referee following PSG's 3-2 loss to Bordeaux last month. Lise Barnbaum and Michael Friedman take a look at the controversial decision that could have serious implications on the French title race.
The comments that were heard around the world left Zlatan Ibrahimovic with no special treatment, a 4-match suspension. The verdict by the disciplinary committee of the French Professional Football League. Zlatan as a football genius, while others as provocative and disrespectful. The Swede, a unique player with little restraint.
It's too bad he has that attitude. I think it's a great opportunity for PSG to have Zlatan as a player.
Fortunate for Zlatan, penalty did not prevent him from playing and winning the League Cup final. But the ban will cost him his play against Nice, Lille, Metz, and Nantes. Blow to PSG in the race for the championship. And Laurent Blanc did not hesitate to make his views known.
think that in France, which I know well and I love, there is a lot of jealousy. People are very jealous about those who have the means, very jealous of those who are successful. That's the way it is. That's how life is.
A look at his statistics can make us understand how important Zlatan is to the Parisian club. The 10 goals he scored in the last 5 matches saw him overtake Rocheteau, which means Zlatan is now the second top scorer in PSG's history. He now just needs 6 more goals to go past Pauletta and become the all-time leader of the club. For this reason, the fans will always forgive him.
If he plays well, we forgive him. All he has to do is keep scoring goals. Yesterday, he scored 3 goals. That means he gets 3 pardons. 1 pardon, it's okay, Zlatan. 2 pardons, France is a shit country, but it's okay, we forgive you, Zlatan. 3 pardons, Paris does not deserve France, or whatever else he said. We forgive you, Zlatan. It's okay. Thanks to his goals, we forgive him. If he can score a pair more against Barcelona, he'll be forgiven for everything. We'll put him on a pedestal and throw money at him.
He will be missing the first leg against Barcelona, but all eyes will be on the striker in the second leg. Thanks to his suspension, he will have 10 days to prepare for the huge fixture. The French Football Association may have decided to make an example of him, but even that, along with some other blows he suffered while playing for PSG, will not make him leave.
I'm happy in France, and all that was written, it's bullshit. All these things they say, it's just to get me down, but they will not succeed. I am happy and at the top level, and this is where I'll stay.
Yoav, there's no doubt he's a great superstar. On the other hand, he was a troublemaker in Barcelona, and he's causing them troubles now. Let's remember, he's not going to play even against Barcelona this week in the first leg of the Champions League. Is it too much for PSG to handle, or like the fan said, as long as he scores, we love him?
I agree with the fan. I think, it's a luxury to give away a player like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Obviously, he has some off the field issues. He always had them. We saw with the referee cussing the referee, and this is something that is not acceptable, and he was punished severely. Now, losing Zlatan for 4 games out of the remaining 7 is a big loss because he's in the form of his life.
And the title race is extremely close.
Yes, they're leading just by 1 point.
By 1 point.
He scored 21 goals this season. Overall, in 89 appearances in PSG, he scored 73 goals. Now, let's not forget, this is a league in which not many goals are scored. So Zlatan is outstanding. Without him, I think it turns PSG. When you're looking at the matchup against Barcelona, I think at home, with Zlatan, I would consider them favorites because they proved against Chelsea that they're a very tough team, very defensive-minded, but they also have the talent to attack. And they have a lot of good players, but above all of them, Zlatan. But let's not forget also what happened in Stamford Bridge.
Without him.
Zlatan was ejected first half, and without him, they managed not to lose to Chelsea, to get the game into overtime, to score 2 goals. Mm-hmm. So this is a seasoned team, experienced.
They can still do it without him.
Talented, but not having Zlatan Ibrahimovic against Barcelona will hurt
Major luxury. Michael, what's the press saying? Is it too much of a punishment?
I mean, the press always speaking about this is a terrible punishment. The Guardian headlines read, Zlatan Ibrahimovic given 4-match ban for TV rant against referee. They're all saying that it's a little heavy, but at the same time, there's really not much that he can argue against. The commission president, Sebastian Deneau, said he has been sanctioned because of the offensive nature and the rudeness of his words. So at the end of the day, these are words that came out of his mouth. But other people are coming and stepping in. Thierry Henry tells France to stop complaining about Ibrahimovic. He's an extraordinary guy. And he says you can't have it both ways. You can't complain about him one day and then the next, be cheering him on for the goals.
So they're just saying he's a genius and let's take him the way he is.
Yes.
And while PSG was worried with other matters, both on and off the pitch, the French league played its 32nd match day. Only 9 goals were scored in the 8 matches played. 3 of them came from Monaco, who won 3-0 in Caen. They have now overtaken Marseille, who lost 1-0 in Bordeaux. Due to the League Cup final, the 2 leaders were out of the action in the French league this weekend. The match between Lyon and Bastia will be held this coming Wednesday, and Paris Saint-Germain will host Metz at the end of the month. This means, of course, that there are no changes at the top. PSG is first with 62 points, 1 more than Lyon in second. Both teams with a game in hand. Monaco is now third with 58 points. Marseille is down to fourth with 57, 1 more than Saint-Etienne in fifth. Yoav, it's extremely interesting to see what has happened to Marseille. They were title contenders not long ago. Now they may not even play in the Champions League next season.
Yes, 2 games, consecutive losses for Marseille. And you know, with Marcelo Bielsa's just style of play is very intense. And the team didn't have a lot of talent, but they had a very good season, especially because of the coach. You know, he's a brilliant coach, brilliant offensive-minded coach, but he demands a lot out of his players, both physically and mentally. And you know, maybe they came to the money
too early.
A bit too early. They peaked, and it's very tough for them. And eventually, it's a game of talent. You know, you cannot compete against the Paris Saint-Germain of the world, not having enough good players.
At the end of the day, it's simply not enough.
But they are close, and we see Monaco now getting to the
Maybe
third
they'll
place.
be back in the title race.
Yes.
Our time is up, so we'll have to go. Yoav Borowitz, Michael Friedman, thank you very much. You'll join us again tomorrow. And that's it for today. Make sure to join us again tomorrow for the Tuesday edition, where we'll take a look at the weekend's events from the Premier League and the Bundesliga. Till then, thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day.